Alright guys, it's no secret, if you've been in this community for a while now, that a lot of my fans, for some reason, I'm sure there's absolutely no, underlying reason, just happen to like Sonic, okay? There's no particular reasons for this, don't look deeper into it, but for no reason in particular, a lot of my fans love Sonic, alright? And because of this, I oftentimes get Sonic videos and Sonic memes tossed my way, and I am forced to watch them. Now, if you don't know anything about me, I am not a Sonic fan, really. Like, genuinely everything that I know about Sonic, besides the fact he's a blue hedgehog that goes fast and runs on loop-de-loos and collects, like, gold rings, the only things I knew about it besides that, I have learned all of it from cultural osmosis from you guys. Like, it has been almost entirely through this means. And because of that, I have seen, like, the Sonic movies, the two Sonic movies that have come out so far, mostly because of you guys. Like, we watch partied them in my Discord. And, I'm not a big Sonic fan, but I'm certainly not a Sonic hater, right? I'm just sort of neutral on the franchise. But what I find very funny is the idea that people within the gaming and, just general Sonic community would all of a sudden turn against the game and accuse, or the franchise in general, I should say. It's not just a game, it's a whole franchise. There are animated shows, I think there are, like, comics and stuff, there are obviously a lot of different games. It's a multimedia franchise. And so this guy has put out a video called I Just Don't Trust the Sonic Franchise. And it's essentially him, who I believe is a Sonic fan, but maybe not. Maybe it's just him arguing why he's not a Sonic fan. And he's arguing he doesn't trust the franchise. And, fair enough. I don't know how reliable the franchise is as a whole. I am not really a big fan of the games based on what I've seen of them, so I don't really have much of an opinion there. But what I have found quite funny is the fact that apparently this guy goes on to complain about Sonic as a franchise going woke, which is really funny because even with the very small amount of Sonic knowledge that I have at this point, I know that, like, Sonic has always been pretty woke. Like, the storytelling of it, the general morals and themes, obviously, have always been pretty progressive and generally very uplifting and positive, even when it gets a little too try-hard edgy with, like, Shadow the Hedgehog or whatever. So this is yet another one of those situations where a beloved franchise that has had its older versions sort of grandfathered into people's nostalgic view of things, they get exempt from the standards of calling whatever new thing they find to be too diverse woke, right? And so now it seems that this guy has a problem with new Sonic stuff. I don't know. All I can tell you is that this video got absolutely ratioed to hell. People are giving this guy a rough time of it. And I just think it'll be funny to see what this guy said that was so overtly stupid that not even the anti-woke crowd came to back him up. So let's go ahead and give this a watch. It's a pretty long video, actually. Slashy, do you know when he starts getting to the cringe? I don't know, we'll play it for now, and if it doesn't get anywhere interesting, then I'll skip around till we get to the anti-woke stuff. Let's check this out.
If you're a Sonic fan, you may have noticed that since about 2020, Sonic has been doing pretty well. At least when compared to the previous decade.
Look, ramps!
We can use these as ramps!
Sonic Frontiers was a big win for us back in 2022. Sure, the game was unpolished in a couple of places and was definitely rushed over the finish line to make its release date, but there's no denying that the new open zone format created in Frontiers was for sure the best way for Sonic.
Alright, this video doesn't seem too awful so far.
Bit of thought put into this stuff. The characters stand on their own and actually experience emotions in a realistic manner, and Sonic is a little more mature, mainly in the sense that his demeanor does change. Okay, so far, we're in a good. It seems like most of the review is fair enough. Nothing too crazy, nothing too weird. But about 13 minutes, according to Slashy in website chat, is when it starts getting a little weird. So let's go to 12:49, and let's watch the part of this video that got it absolutely ratioed to the Shadow Realm. would have ever allowed this design to get out. A design that would have had to go through many stages, many stages of approval, by the way. Now along comes a second movie, an even bigger financial success and relatively well received by fans. Now lessons were learned here, and there's a bit more in the ways of iconography and reverence for the Sonic series. Knuckles and Tails were designed well the first time around, but no one is going to make that mistake again. And the Death Egg robot looked brilliant, actually. It really did. And of course we had some interesting echidna lore and Super Sonic, which is cool. I like him. He's cool. But I gotta say, all of this is pretty surface level and still feels like they're just using Sonic to push an otherwise unremarkable family movie. Except, this time they did a little bit more Google searching about...
I mean... Unremarkable family movies are what adaptions of kids' games are going to tend to be, in general. Like, I heard the Mario movie is pretty good, but I wouldn't say it's remarkable, even based on the things I've heard about it that have been pretty general praise. Like, the Sonic movie was never going to be a remarkable film. It's a franchise movie, He's a little quiet. Okay, let me boost his volume.
About the Sonic series. At its core, Sonic 2 suffers from having the DNA of the first movie, where Sonic ends up with a human family, he has a bedroom in their house, and stays put in Green Hill, which really doesn't suit the free spirit of Sonic the Hedgehog at all. Speaking of his human family, there's an irritating focus on humans through subplots that just have no right being in a Sonic movie. Again, it just feels like Paramount is using Sonic to push a generic family flick. Not to...
Aren't there humans in the Sonic games? Like, Dr. Eggman's a human. Like, I get what he means, but also... That's a really weird way to word the criticism, because I get that Sonic is known as, like, isn't Sonic a world where they're basically alien animals with superpowers that are in a world that's effectively full of humans, and that's part of why they're so special? Like, that was Sonic 06, based on what Chad is saying, yeah.
Get too much into it, although I will get too much into it. Modern movie production is flooded with DEI requirements, meaning...
Here we go. Did you guys know the Sonic movie had black people in it? Here we go.
Production is flooded with DEI requirements, meaning on-screen diversity
I'm
has to be
racist, but
forced
stick around.
unnaturally into every project, and it's pretty hard to pull that off in a movie that should be about Sonic characters. This results in completely intrusive and movie-derailing subplots, such as that whole wedding storyline being used as an excuse to shove as many humans in as possible just to meet some stupid diversity quota.
Just to shove as many humans in to meet a diversity quota? Is he using human as like a dog whistle for black people here? Also, the subplot with the wedding isn't a subplot. It's a part of the main plot. Isn't the husband, the fiancé here, like an undercover agent? The wedding was there to introduce Gunn, the Sonic military. Yeah, they're like a big faction in the Sonic games. Even I know about them. Aren't they in Sonic 06 as well? I know they have a lot to do with Shadow the Hedgehog, don't they? I don't know. Well, like I said, I'm not an expert on the lore, but I watched this movie, and the wedding was actually kind of an important plot point. Especially because even if you don't know Sonic that well, you know that there are people in Sonic, and that there being normal people in Sonic is kind of what makes the animal superpowered characters special, even in that world.
As many humans in as possible just to meet some stupid diversity quota. The whole sequence of Maddie and Rachel fighting gun agents reeks of studio-mandated empowering moments.
Okay, so he knows that there were the gun guys there. Okay, cool. At least he recognizes that. So does he not like the idea of that storyline getting adapted? Would it have been fine if they were white? Because obviously what he's complaining about here is that he didn't like the storyline, and because the storyline had black people in it, then it must have been just to push an agenda. That is something that's been a really interesting trend with the internet during like the rise of the anti-woke stuff, is this association of if a bad piece of media comes out and it stars like an all-white, all-male, all-straight cast, it's just a bad movie. But if a bad movie comes out or a bad game comes out and it has diversity in it, then the diversity is somehow the reason for, or at least related to, the badness of the movie. It can't just be a bad movie that happens to have diverse casting. which of course is inevitable. You know, a certain percentage of movies are always going to come out and end up being bad and awful. And as movies get to be more diverse in their casting, this is just going to give the right more ammo to claim, oh yeah, they're pushing an agenda, you know, and that's what's making these movies worse. But it also gets weaker as more blockbuster movies hit that do extremely well that also have a diverse cast, right?
If anyone is fighting gun agents, I want it to be Sonic, not two random women who have nothing to do with the games. The funny thing is, if DEI really has to be pushed here, gun agents are the best way to do it. There's so many of them here, you can just meet all your quotas through the agents, and they...
Does he... So this guy has seemingly fully bought into the conspiracy theory that the DEI thing is real, that like Sweet Baby or BlackRock or whatever, these communist investment firms as they call them, are pushing an agenda and using media to do so via mandates of diversity. And if this was happening, the only logical conclusion would be that they're doing this to make more money because diversity equals more money. But they argue that it makes these movies go broke, that it makes these movies do badly. Though he's arguing about a very successful franchise right now, which is what ended up getting him nuked. If he was talking about a less popular franchise, or if the Sonic movie had gotten way more hate on release, if the Sonic fan base hadn't come out to say, okay, actually this is pretty good on release, and just let the internet run with the idea that it was bad, then believe me, this guy would have gotten far more views, he would have gotten far more likes and way more support, because there would have already been a bandwagon around hating these movies for completely separate reasons. And, just not pleasing the fans, for example, in terms of, what it delivered and what it adapted. And because of that already existing anger, there would actually be a market for this type of rhetoric. But because the movies are well-recepted, that is why there is no market for it. If people didn't like the movies, this video would have done great. It would not have gotten ratioed.
Did make them diverse, but maybe they're just not allowed to have too many diverse people as bad guys. I can't believe I'm talking about woke Hollywood in relation to Sonic, but that's the world we live in today.
That's the world we live in today, I guess. Yes, it is the world we live in today. We have truly fallen as a civilization. People like you go on the internet and unabated just bullshit people and complain about diversity in media as if it's a real issue in this world, and basically just reveal the fact that either you have nothing serious going on in your life, if this is the biggest worry that you have, or you are just playing a grift to make money off of gullible idiots that fall for this grift narrative of everything is going woke. We live in a society.
Sorry if I upset you here, I'm not actually. This is a Paramount-made movie, remember that. The same company that's still allowing Alex Kurtzman to control Star Trek, despite the fact that he made Star Trek Discovery. Did you see the Sector 31 trailer, by the way? So, Sonic Movie 2 is more...
Is Star Trek Discovery, very unsuccessful or something? I haven't watched anything recent Star Trek, so I don't know if it's he's just mad about the show being diverse, and that's what the problem is. Star Trek is as woke as it gets. You guys know Star Trek got the episode. There was an episode of Star Trek where Captain Kirk, not Captain Kirk. Is it Cap? No, I think it's Captain Kirk and no, it wasn't Kirk. It was fucking. Hold on, I'm brain farting right now. William Riker. It was William Riker and another crew member who was played by a black actress, kissed and had the first interracial kiss on television in America, and Alabama banned it back in 1966. Yeah, Lefty Jenna. Alabama banned it because they didn't want interracial relationships encouraged on television. It was it's one of the most classic examples of the anti-woke, we have to stop any form of what we consider progressive, societal degradation from being in media, right? (1966) seems late for, or not late, early for that to be when it was. It must have been later. No, I guess 66, maybe. God, I don't... When did original Star Trek start? I actually don't know. I would have bet the 70s. I feel like Alabama would have banned an interracial kiss during the 70s. I feel like the 70s were pretty racist. They were pretty racist, right? Like that. I think it probably happened during the 70s, not 1966. That seems way too early. 66 was the first series? That's fucking crazy. Holy shit. Dude, Star Trek is an old franchise. God damn.
Respectful, but the whole thing stinks of, modern Hollywood. This is best exemplified by the fact that the music is mostly generic nonsense, made by Junkie XL, that pays no homages to the soundtracks of the games, which is a massive part of Sonic's identity. And let's be honest, the soundtrack is the only thing that allowed the series to survive the 2010s. Junkie XL used Ant-Man and the Wasp music for the Sonic vs. Knuckles fight, and for some reason after he did that...
Is that true? Is he just, like, being hyperbolic here, or did they reuse the soundtrack of Ant-Man for the Sonic and Knuckles fight? Is that real? Oh, it was Kirk and Uhura. Okay. Nice. What's he referring to here? Is this real, chat? Is he just making this up? Yeah, they did use a very popular song. They should have used Sonic music, but there was really no song they could have used because most Sonic songs are more fight scene songs. Interesting. I guess I can see that criticism, but that has nothing to do with wokeness. You'll see once again how the right loves to do this, where they like take what might be a valid criticism of a piece of media and attach it to the anti-woke narrative, right? That it's a very popular method, Makes it seem a little less like you're just in it to complain about minorities in media. Like you're calling out the agenda, but also objective flaws in the piece of media. Yeah, so my understanding is that they just used licensed music. They didn't reuse a song from the soundtrack of another movie that's like an original soundtrack. Okay, that makes sense. They used a popular licensed song that was also in Ant-Man. Okay, that doesn't mean the same thing as the way that sounds, though.
They still signed him on for Sonic Movie 3. Oh, and did I mention he's talked about using AI to make music?
Well, I can be very short. I love AI. I embrace it. I can't wait until
this is cringe.
There becomes like a functioning software program where AI is really like integrated in the music making process.
Lovely. That really speaks to...
Well, this could mean a lot of different things, though, to be fair, because like art programs use AI to help with all sorts of things, and it's not generative AI. AI does not mean generative AI 100% of the time. No, Nintendo style. AI does not mean generative AI 100% of the time. If he meant generative AI, it's cringe. AI as a concept is not cringe. Oh god, I just realized we're going to enter this like era of brain rot where people refer to generative AI trained off of other people's work and other images as just AI and stigmatize AI as a whole as including that. Okay, sorry. It's okay. It's just it's a misunderstanding that frustrates me because people confidently... It frustrates me when people make a confident statement based on ignorance that they don't even know they have, essentially, which isn't really your fault. But it's also frustrating to see, Not trying to target you. A few people in chat were like, yeah, AI sucks, but... yeah, assuming he means generative AI, yeah, that would suck. But if he just means, like, AI being integrated and improved for helping with things like just the busy work in making music, which there is a lot of busy work, then, yeah, that would be a good thing, Like, imagine if you could use an AI program to edit dead air out of, like, song takes, right? Because you might record, like, a bunch of different little, like, bits of a take of a song. Let's say you could just drop it in, and AI in like, your editing program can cut the dead air out automatically, so you don't have to, like, click Control-S, right-click, delete, Control-S, right-click, delete, right-click, like that kind of stuff. And I know that kind of stuff exists for art programs. That could be what he's referring to, but like I said, maybe not. I'm just clarifying that there, because I see people lately just referring to any form of AI as bad, We're talking about the generative AI, the stuff trained off of other people's things that makes something claiming to be a new piece of work that is just a conglomeration of other people's stolen art or intellectual property.
His quality as an artist, doesn't it? Something like the Mario movie was admittedly very light on narrative, but in every aspect and tiny detail of the movie, you could feel the reverence towards the Mario IP, especially in the OST, which is just composed by Koji Kondo himself. So it bypasses the risk of turning into generic Hollywood gobbledygook entirely by just bringing the actual guy in. We can hope that the Mario movie may have positively impacted the development of the third Sonic movie, since it grossed $1.36 billion worldwide and was the most profitable movie of 2020.
You know what's really neat about this, though? He doesn't remember or doesn't want to bring it up, I assume. It's been memory hold pretty hard. Who remembers when the Sonic movie was woke? Was this not the movie everyone was yelling at for woke Biker Peach? That's right. Who remembers when all of these people were attacking the Sonic movie when the trailers were out and calling it woke? Then it succeeded and made, as he says and emphasizes really hard, because he's like defending the movie right now, he wants to remind you, it made $1.3 billion in the box office. So, yeah, basically they thought that the Mario movie was going to be woke, accused it of being woke, and shit-talked it for a while before it came out, and then it released, did super well, and now he and all the other Chud YouTubers walked it back, and now use it as, like, a comparison, a positive comparison to the things that they criticize and call woke. I think a really good example of this, actually, is, Oh, there's an article about it. The confusing history of how Super Mario Bros. Became an anti-woke symbol. The Super Mario Bros. Movie dominated the box office when it opened last weekend, exceeding predictions by making $377 million globally and shattering the multiple records in the process. Among the many people lauding the success of the animated feature have been right-wing pundits who claim that the success of Super Mario Bros. Is due to the film being anti-woke. For those not familiar, the movie centers on Mario and Luigi to blah, 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 blah. But why has the family film generated so much political talk, including from some conservatives who have argued that Super Mario Bros. Is in fact very woke? Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk was among the first to tout the film's supposed conservative values in a Saturday night tweet in which he said it succeeded at the box office because Nintendo refused to let Mario Bros. Go woke. The following day, conservative podcast host Steven Crowder called the movie anti-woke during a segment, and his guest, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, agreed. Within days, social media was full of comments proclaiming Super Mario Bros. As an anti-woke triumph. Kirk commented that Nintendo and ostensibly co-producers Universal Pictures and Illumination, you'll notice, by the way, it was like the second they found out how big the box office was, the big conservative pundits started like jumping onto the idea that this was an anti-woke movie and that it succeeded because it's anti-woke, because simultaneously wokeness must be destroying Hollywood, destroying movies and media, but it also has to be losing, has to be like taking over super strong, a big deadly threat, but also whenever something not woke comes out, it dominates in the box office over everything that's woke, because the enemy is simultaneously weak and strong. It's a core tenet of fascism, and it even applies in this culture war bullshit. The following day, Kirk commented or contended that Nintendo and ostensibly co-producers Universal Pictures and Illumination found success despite negative words from actor John Leguizamo, who portrayed Luigi in the 1993 live-action take on the franchise. Prior to the new film's opening, John Leguizamo, it's a very much an Italian name, said he would be boycotting it since the production messed up the inclusion that the first feature possessed by having him, a Latino, as a lead. Oh, I guess it's not Italian. Listen, okay. Spanish last names and Italian last names sound very similar, okay? They're like basically the same, Italian and Spanish, like very close. Yes is the same word in both languages. So's no. I'm pretty sure, right? White boy moment? Fuck you. I'm not that white. I don't have that much of a melanin deficiency. I can take a bit of sun, you know? A little bit. Yeah, I do get viciously sunburnt if I stay outside for too long. But, you know, I can handle a little. I'm not that melanin deficient. Come on, don't bully me. Florida has Cubans? Yeah, they go crazy. I love Cuban sandwiches. Get it like a nice pressed Cuban sandwich. Fucking wild. I love those things. Super Mario Bros. Had already generated some controversy well before Leguizamo's comments, though. When it was announced that Pratt would be voicing Mario, critics complained the role would have gone to an Italian-American, or should have gone to an Italian-American instead. Mark Harvey, an associate, blah, blah, blah. This isn't important. I want to go back to the narrative that it was woke. Here we go. However, not everyone felt that Super Mario Bros. Was anti-woke. In fact, some argued the exact opposite, including figures on the right. Anna Perez, the conservative host of the Wrong Think podcast, accused the film of brainwashing young females to be feminist, due to Princess Peach being portrayed as a strong protagonist, not afraid to take the lead. Quote, what they are doing is trying to brainwash society into thinking that's how young girls are supposed to be. And this is dangerous because then we have women who go out there and think they're men, and they wind up getting hurt. They wind up getting raped, Perez said during a recent broadcast. The reality, of course, it's women's fault if they live lives similar to how men do, I guess carefree and like not giving a fuck about danger, I guess is how this lady thinks men live their lives. And so if women live their lives like men or try to live like they have the privileges of men, then it's their fault if they get victimized, is what she's implying there, by the way. So not only confirming she recognizes male privilege exists, recognizes that you would be murdered or raped as a woman to live your life like men do without male privilege, but then argues it's your fault if you're a woman. Yeah, what the fuck is this article saying? Do you think that's what the article is arguing, Trans Goddess Rosie Star? Where is your listening comprehension? We're reading something. Anna Perez, the conservative host of the Wrong Think podcast, and then I read the quote. Where is your reading comprehension? Or not your reading comprehension, your listening comprehension. We're going to put you on the funny pills, okay? We're going to get you on those focus pills, the old Ritalin. Is it Ritalin or Adderall? Which ones make people focus that can't pay attention? Women conservatives must be genuinely stupid to follow their oppressors. I need you guys to know, female conservatives are some of the most evil bitch cunts you will ever encounter, okay? Genuine, like, I don't know if there's a gender equivalent to, like, the term race traitor, but if there is, then that's what they are, okay? Like, genuinely so. I fully believe that saying sexist shit about conservative women is completely fine, because that absolutely pales in comparison to what they are willing to do in electing and advocating for the figures that would absolutely decimate women's rights in this country. They've got absolutely no right to complain about it, but you better believe they do. If you so much as breathe a sigh of disagreement about the politics of a conservative woman, they will immediately use their identity as a shield against your criticism. You will never see anyone go full SJW accusations of racism, sexism, whatever it may be, homophobia, than a gay conservative, a black conservative, a woman conservative who has had their ideas challenged. Like, the second you challenge, instantly using identity as a shield. Yeah, conservative women, be quiet and shut up challenge. Unless you want to become, progressive, in which case, be very loud. Be as loud as fucking possible. The thing is, conservative women are supposed to be quiet and to shut up or whatever. That's what their husbands want, and that's what they claim to want to do is please their husbands, because they love their husbands, right? And their husbands are superior to them, and they're stronger, and they're the glue that holds the whole family together, right? Anyway, we're getting stun locked here on insane conservative groupthink. Back to Sonic.
3. So, you see where respecting the IP can get you? Listen, I am very interested in the idea of a movie adaptation of Sonic.
It is unnecessary to say sexist shit about them, though. I would actually argue sometimes it is necessary. It depends on what your standard of sexist is. They would definitely call you sexist. So, I mean, I as a guy can't really argue even with a conservative woman who's accusing something I criticize them for of being sexist on that. I guess maybe it is, Doesn't change that it's right. But, like, yeah, if a conservative woman is advocating, like, as a Grifter podcast host, like, saying that women are naturally, biologically intended to have a single male partner, while men are naturally there's a term they use for this, like they're naturally meant to have multiple partners. So women's place is to be the broodmare in a harem of wives, like hypergamy. Yeah, you see like conservative podcast women who are complete grifters, like also Lauren Chen is one of these people, that they are as sexist as it possibly gets, calling out the fact that they are doing, ironically enough, they do everything that male misogynists accuse all women, particularly progressive women, of doing. They do those things, right? Like, conservative women actually use their sexuality to scam conservative men out of their money via content creation. It's a massive grift right now. It's ironic because those same men accuse OnlyFans girls of scamming men. They accuse women in general in relationships of being gold diggers that just want to sap the wealth and income from men. You can call, if it's sexist to accuse women of doing that in general, and they want to argue it's sexist, I'll own it. I'll say, sure, I am sexist, fuck it. But that is what they are doing. Yeah. Conservative women take everything that misogynists say about women, and they are like, oh yeah, let me do that. Yeah.
Adventure 2. But since this will have the same DNA of the first movie that plagued its sequel, and seemingly the same creative team as those two movies, I'm remaining cautious here. What I'm getting at is that Sega is
Here's the thing, though. On the other end of the spectrum, a conservative man might, like, kill and rape you. Like, that happens. Like, that is a real fear that women have. Like, to just not even sugarcoat it, even in the slightest bit. That is the legitimate fear that a lot of women have of conservative men, is that if they ever meet one in the wrong place, wrong time, go on a date with them, something like that, that their lack of respect for consent, boundaries, and women's rights and autonomy might lead to them being raped, and if that doesn't go the way that said rapist wants to go, could be murder. That is a real fear. So, once again, not trying to make it some gender war thing. Every conservative sucks, regardless of their gender, is my emphasis here, okay? Just be on the lookout for the fact that conservatives are willing to use any lying, dishonest tactic under the sun, and if they are part of a marginalized group, they know what they're doing. They know they're grifting just as much as any conservative pundit is. And if they get called out on the grift, just like any other conservative pundit would use any dishonest tactic to defend themselves, people who are part of marginalized groups and grift for right-wing stuff use their identity as a shield. It is a very easy, shameless way to shoot down criticism. Is that supposed to be new knowledge? Mooney Live? Just because you knew something that I said does not mean that all 200 people here know what I just said and already knew that. Mooney Live, are you aware of the fact that you are one person in a world of nearly 8 billion, maybe over 8 billion now, actually, and that not every single person on this planet has had the exact same experiences as you, and some people, in fact, even know different things than you. Like, some people know things you don't know, and some people don't know things that you know. And so sometimes when something is being said, it's actually valuable even if you already knew it, because some other people hearing it might not have before. It's actually a pretty crazy idea.
Allowing this to happen. I understand that the movies are good publicity and they make good money, but this isn't really Sonic, and I wish Sega cared more about that fact. I don't want them to be complacent just because of those healthy box office numbers, and perhaps that attitude might just end up spilling over into the games. Because let's be real, Sega...
Oh no, guys, the woke Hollywood is going to spill into the... Isn't wokeness already taking over games? What is this worry that wokeness is going to spill into the Sonic games if wokeness is already taking over the gaming industry as a whole? Well, wouldn't you just be more concerned about the wokeness coming from inside the house?
His track record with successful Sonic is just, bad. I consider Sonic's first objective win to be Sonic Frontiers. So that's a little under 2 years ago, at the time of making this video anyway. The first two movies don't count to me as the return to form everyone's talking about. I see them more as Sonic breaking back into the zeitgeist of the new generation, regardless of what image is being projected by those movies. Yes, Frontiers is a fun game, it's definitely a great foundation to work off, and the way Sega has engaged with the feedback to the game has been encouraging, but again, this is the same company that went from Sonic Generations to this. The same game company that let Sonic Boom happen, showing that they hadn't learned a thing from the disaster Sonic 06. They didn't learn from that. Again, it's not even been...
So, one thing that I find interesting is he doesn't say that Sonic Boom was a failure financially, though the implication is that it was, that they didn't learn from Sonic Boom. Was Sonic Boom a financial failure? Because someone sent me a link to a clip of it the other day, and the clip was actually pretty funny. What was woke about Sonic Boom? There was a scene in it that I got sent yesterday in which the pink character says that she's going to, like, kick the soccer ball into the goal, and she's going to prove that, like, women can do sports too or whatever. And then Knuckles is like, oh yeah, Amy, Amy, to imply that you getting this goal proves something about women being able to do sports also kind of implies that this is an exception to the norm among women, and that you are an exceptionally capable woman, and that exceptionality is simply being able to kick like, he just absolutely demolishes her, like, pop feminist argument, and he hits her with, like, a more, like, academic feminist argument, and they all like stare at him, and he just says, what, just because I'm a meathead doesn't mean I'm not a feminist? I was like, yeah, that joke actually went hard as fuck, especially for a kids show. Sonic's world is supposed to be a utopia with no bigotry or prejudice. Well, I mean, the world that Sonic the games take place in that's definitely not the case. There's conflict in those games. I know that's for sure. Do you mean where he comes from? Because in that case, I mean, he's not there. At least most of the time, it seems, in many versions of Sonic. I haven't played any of the games, but I would assume he doesn't spend all of his time in his paradise of a homeland. Oh, is this the link to the clip? This is the Sonic Boom clip.
It all comes down to this one penalty kick. Can the young woman break the glass ceiling and prove once and for all that a female can be just as good an athlete as a male?
You know, Amy, anytime someone calls attention to the breaking of gender rules, it ultimately undermines the concept of gender equality by implying that this is an exception and not the status quo. What? Just because I'm a meathead doesn't mean I'm not a feminist.
It's so fucking good, dude. It's so fucking good. I fucking love that clip. That is a good clip. What was wrong with Sonic Boom, though? Like, was it a financial failure or something? Is there a reason why he says that the company didn't learn from that mistake? Oh, it was a game. The game was awful? Yes? Okay. Let me show you. No. We're not. No!
2 years since Frontiers. Anything could happen as far as I'm concerned. We did get Sonic Superstars, which was overwhelmingly mediocre. When I think of the word milquetoast, I think of Sonic Superstars. Sega actually had the gall to charge 50 great...
Okay, it seems like he's done talking about wokeness now, but let's read the comments on this video, because they're very funny. They're actually why I ended up covering this video at all, because the reaction was like, oh, okay, so this video is pretty cringe. Sonic movies are ruined by the woke. Bro, on to nothing. No way you made this whole video and thought to yourself, yeah, people are 100% going to take me seriously when I talk about wokeness in Sonic the Hedgehog. What does black characters have to do with the side plot in movie 2, dude? Ooh, the woke is ruining Sonic. Never cook again. Bro is not cooking. Bro is getting banned from cooking school with this one. Diversity is forced into Sonic, so we're just going to act like Sonic Unleashed isn't a thing or what? Black family exists in movie. Force DEI. This is my issue with this talking point. How do you have diverse characters without it being perceived as forced? I've yet to get an answer. If a normal family is seen as forced, there's simply no winning. So I can only come to the conclusion that jumping to DEI when seeing black characters is rooted in racism. I don't think the wedding scene was to meet a diversity quota. Wasn't expecting to see actual racism in a Sonic video. Bro's brain stopped developing years ago. The wedding scene had nothing to do with diversity. It was to introduce Gun. The wedding was a sham from the jump if you did not realize the late you didn't pay attention to the movie or the Sonic franchise. Do we all remember that one bit from the Sadix manual where it says that the only thing Sonic hates is oppression? Oh, no reason. I was just reminded of it. So what I gather from this is Sonic is not only woke now, but because there's black people in the Sonic movies and we can't move past the baldy nose hair clip from Colors every time we talk about the 2010s and overgeneralize the decade as terrible trash that ruined Sonic from his glory days of the 2000s, yeah, I think that about sums it up. Sonic is getting woke, bro. Almost every human character is white outside of Unleashed. The fuck are you on about? Just put the fries in the bag, bro. Oh my yap, bro saw more than one black person in a movie and died. Like, I understand maybe not liking the humans, I get it, but saying, herder, 2 black women must be DEI. Like, please, shut the fuck up, Lamau. DEI is literally the least of Sonic's problems as a series right now. I saw the title and was like, yeah, me too. We've been burned so many times. I don't want to be too excited for anything in case it's not good. And then you brought up wokeness and DEI. Okay, so what's happening here? I'm starting to pick up on the state of the Sonic franchise right now. Apparently the Sonic franchise is in a bit of a shaky state. Like, it's not all bad, but it's not all good, according to the fans. But there's enough bad that it seems like there's a pre-existing anger at the franchise, enough that guys like this are trying to farm that hatred and turn it into anti-woke sentiment and just grift off of that. He is trying to start the anti-woke grift within the Sonic franchise. It's recovering from 10 years of garbage right now. Okay, makes sense. Back in the 90s, it was considered woke to care about the environment. Sonic championed that movement, and he's had a black voice actor multiple times. Sonic's been woke, and Sega actively supports gay pride parades. Where have you been? Sonic is blue, Knuckles is red, and Tails is yellow. But where the problem begins for you is when there are black people in the movie. I'm assuming you had zero issues with James Marsden for some inexplicable reason, right? It's one thing to say that the Sonic movies focus too much on human characters. It's another thing entirely to be frustrated that not every character is white. Bro yapped for like 10 plus minutes only to waste it by criticizing with woke DEI concerns at the end. SMH, and I was really interested in hearing the perspective. Complaining about diversity and woke immediately made the entire video invalid. Go outside. He really tried to bait the Sonic community into his, like, Sonic criticism video that would be trying to slyly push anti-woke propaganda onto them, and they caught it, and they are not down for it. I'm proud of the Sonic community for this. This is based. Sonic Rush literally sampled one of Malcolm X's speeches for an OST. It's called Wrapped in Black. This video is insane. Yeah, this video is ass. Bro is slipping hints left and right about woke up until the 14-minute mark. Of course you're complaining about woke DEI because there's more than one black person in a Sonic movie. That was ridiculous and completely unnecessary. I would love to see what proof you have supporting this claim. I will say this. Yes, Shadow fulfilled his promise to Maria in Sonic Adventures 2. That does not mean he has made peace with it. He was ready to basically die on that high note. Heroes was... Okay, I don't care about this. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. Tomato emojis. The entire Knuckles show is about Wade and his dad or whatever. Sorry, bro, when you started talking about woke Hollywood, I checked out. Wait till this guy finds out who Sonic is voiced by in AOSTH and SATAM. Bro's gonna flip when he finds out who voiced classic Sonic and Sonic Prime. The way you killed all your good faith with randomly yapping about woke Hollywood. You can see now, like, I really do think we're entering this era right now. I genuinely do. I think we're entering this era where people are getting fed up with the anti-woke bullshit. You know how we covered that video from the Act-Man yesterday, where he's talking about, oh, everything is woke now, apparently. You know who else put out, I mean, they're already pretty left-leaning, but a large YouTuber as well. D'Angelo put out on the D'Angelo channel, anti-woke YouTubers are a plague, 6 hours ago, and it has 100,000 views. It's a good video. I've watched a good bit of it so far, but I'm kind of like watching it in chunks because it's on the longer side. I tend to do that a lot. Like, I'll watch 10 minutes of a video, and then I'll come back to it and watch another 10 minutes or finish it up or whatever. And so I got to finish this one later, but I'll play a little bit of it here because it's really good. And if you don't watch D'Angelo, you're missing out. Really good content.
To sum up today's entire video in a single word, it would be woke. Not sure if you've got the memo, but apparently everything is woke nowadays. Video games, movies, the existence of women, all of these things are proof that we are moving in a very woke direction. Or at least that's what many would have you believe. And if you, like me, are just interested to learn all of the ways in which the world has become woke, because that's definitely something I'm interested in, look no further than youtube.com, where they are all too happy to shove this content in everybody's recommended feed for unknown reasons. And you know what? Honestly, I'm tired of fighting it. Today, I've decided, instead of hitting not interested for the 1000th time, I'm just going to dive into the rabbit hole and see what they have to offer. But first, welcome. My name is D'Angelo, and I am your professor of post-informational deconstruction theory. which is a very real degree that I definitely do have. Or maybe this is just me broadcasting myself talking in my room like YouTube used to be. And in today's lecture, I'm breaking my own rule because typically I give absolutely no attention to anybody who uses the word woke unironically. However, as a YouTuber, I must admit, the call of the void is there every day. Why make videos about Reddit posts and internet trends when I can just complain about literally everything being woke and basically get the exact same amount of views? This time, I'm here to learn as well. Let's see exactly.
It is an evil abyss of massive amounts of money, basically. It's like genuinely any content creator that is aware of how easy the like anti-woke grift is and doesn't take it on its own is pretty respectable, because it's like saying no to the power of the One Ring. It's like the most easy, shameless, like low morality money you could make, and it's almost guaranteed, you know?
Exactly what it takes to thrive in YouTube's anti-woke industrial complex. So I have actually wanted to make this video for a while, but the number one thing that was holding me back this entire time is I am terrified of messing up my recommendations. I don't know how to signal to
Mine are fucked, dude. Like, whenever I watch the Chud content on the same account I just watch normal stuff on, my recommendations are so fucked. The same goes for because you guys send me videos and memes to watch, and I watch them on the same account. So my recommendations are just so fucked, man. I need a second account, true, but I pay for YouTube Premium on this one, and I wanted to have it because I feel like there may be like at least a 1% chance that YouTube gives preferential treatment to channels with YouTube Premium. Like, there's no way there's not some 1 or 0 behind the scenes that sets it so you get like at least like, I don't know, like 1% more engagement and recommendations on your videos if you buy YouTube Premium. That's got to exist somewhere, you know, just, you know, it's got to be a thing. Beta male Sonic meme, we've seen it a million times. It's all good, Summerstar. Anyway, I think we're entering the fall of the anti-woke movement right now. It's not fully dead by any means. We're far from it, but I really do think it's starting. I think people are getting really tired of this shit, and now that even, I would actually argue with Actman, marginally conservative-leaning content creators, like he believes there are agendas being pushed in media for like progressive woke stuff. Like he believes wokeness is a thing, and even he is getting to the point where it's like not every game is woke. Like what are these people doing? Like what is this grift? They recognize it for what it is. And so this is really just the first steps in what could be a massive cultural shift for YouTube and for the internet in general, and for like considering the internet is where a lot of political discourse happens entirely these days, even where a lot of talking points that become mainstream real world politics start. Like you guys have noticed that, right? Like since the Trump era, every mainstream political talking point starts as an internet conspiracy theory or internet discourse, from DEI to the trans like bathroom stuff to the trans like in sports stuff. Every single issue that has been important to mainstream politics has started with discourse on Twitter or on YouTube. And ever since the Trump era started. That is literally fully through and through true. Besides like some economic and foreign policy stuff that's like real serious, real politics that the internet is too brain dead to even know is happening. When it comes to anything like domestic policy related that has to do with like civil rights or anything, it's all starting on the internet. So if the internet culture changes, which I feel like it might, it's going to have a very strong reverberating impact on the real world politics as well. To be fair to Actman, he believes in the woke agenda insofar as it can be proven, like the Blizzard diversity score thing. Yeah, which that's just rainbow capitalism. The problem is the anti-woke people have always had like they've always had very thin evidence for their arguments, but they've had some kind of evidence. It hasn't always just been talk. Sometimes they're able to show something like the Blizzard diversity quota charts, right? Where they're doing like hardcore corporate, like, you know, rainbow capitalism. And it's hard to just say, oh, well, the woke stuff's not real when there's, you know, examples like that, which aren't necessarily wokeness. They're trying to make money, right? Yeah. Rainbow capitalism is not woke, if you did not know. Anyway, With all that said, I think we've done a pretty good job covering the main points of this video. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like. If you didn't know, every single thumbs up on my videos, streams, no matter what I upload really, pushes my content in the algorithm out to a wider and larger audience. Oh wait, Slashy, no, I'm doing the outro. No, the video's already too long. If you enjoyed the video, please consider commenting down below as well and subscribing and ringing the bell icon to turn on all notifications so that YouTube tells you when I go live or upload a new video. Be sure to follow my social medias linked down below in the description as well if you haven't already, so you can actually see me on other platforms too. And join my fan Discord if you haven't already. It's totally free, and you know, it's the main hub of my community and fan base, so please consider joining since it is pretty dope. I also host game events, call-in streams, and watch parties there too, so make sure you hop on in. It's a good time. And if you feel like it, you want to support me, help keep the lights and the roof above my head over at the Xander Hall studio, consider personally donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or donate, subscribe, gift a sub on my, oh my god, I fumbled bad. Donate, subscribe, or gift a sub on my website, support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or support me by buying merch at the Streamlabs link down below. But regardless, thank you for watching, and have a good one.